Hello, recently I was working on implementing read-side restrictions for strfry, which means those who run strfry can configure events of what kind can be accessed by different kinds of clients, like those who are authenticated and those who are not. So I'm going to demonstrate that same thing here. So let's create some scripts. So I'll run strfry here, I'll run the relay here, and first let's see what happens when you try to request when you're not authenticated. So I will just call it test unauthenticated, and we will not have any filters. We're trying to fetch all the events that are there. So what should happen here is that we should get all kind 1 events and events of other kinds which are not restricted. But we should not get any kind 4 events. Kind 4 events are restricted. Now we have configured kind 4 events to be restricted, so these events should not appear in the response. So let's see. And all of these are kind 1 because the client was not authenticated, so it could not fetch any of those restricted events. Now let's try to fetch again, but let's add a filter that tries to fetch only the restricted events. What should happen here is that the request should be rejected and the client and the relay should send an authentication challenge, because the client is not authenticated and is requesting by the filter that they get kind 4 event. Now this filter will not involve any of the non-restricted events, so it will outright reject the request, as you can see here. Now let's also try this with count. So first let's take all the events without any filter. This should give us the count because we have not applied any filter, and that is 15. But for the entire demo we have kind 4 as the restricted kind. Now this is obviously configurable, you can make any kind restricted. So let's try this, and it was rejected. Also we did not receive any auth challenge because one is already pending. So yeah, that's for when you are not authenticated. Now let's also demo one more thing. Let's open another connection and let's see what happens when we add events live, because when there is no restriction on read, every event is streamed to every connected client. But now let's add some events and see if the client connected above gets them. The first one that I am going to add, this is a kind 1 event, so the client above should get it because this event is not restricted. So as you can see, this one kind 1 event for live demo which we added appeared here. Now let's run kind 4 event and see if the client gets it. This time it should not, because it cannot get any of those kind 4 events. And as you can see, there is only one which we got earlier. So that's for the unauthenticated clients. Now let's authenticate. So we are successfully authenticated now, and now let's try to fetch all those restricted events. So and this time we should get those restricted events because we are authenticated, but also we should be involved in those events. So we send the request here, and then you can see all those kind 4 events are here. In the first one, the client is not the publisher but is tagged. In this one, the client is the publisher. Now let's try to count the events. Now the thing with count is that we do not have per event processing in count, so we cannot go and check every event whether this should be counted or not. So for count, we require that the client itself makes the count such that if they are trying to fetch, if they are specifying restricted kinds in their count, they should specify in the filter that they may be the author or they may be tagged in those events. So let me show you. First we try to do this. We do a kind 4, and this should not work because we are trying to get the count of all the kind 4 events, but we are not specifying in our filter that those kind 4 events should involve this client's pub key. So this should fail, as you can see. But again, if we do the same thing here, but this time we now this time we are specifying that we want kind 4 events, but also we want that the authors of those events must be this client's pub key. So this time the count should succeed, and as you can see, the count is 1 because only one place this client was tagged. Now again, let's do 2 more things. Let's first let's add a live event which involves this client, this authenticated one. Now let's add an event which involves the client. So this event tags the authenticated client. So this event should appear live for this client, and as you can see, it does. Kind 4 that tags Bob, and this is what we published. Kind 4 that tags Bob. Now one last thing that I want to demonstrate is an event that does not tag or involve this client should not appear live even if the client is authenticated. So let's add the event. This time we are adding a kind 4 event that does not tag Bob, and as you can see, there's nothing appearing here. So these are all the possibilities I could think of demonstrating right now. There can be other combinations. This will give the operators a lot more control on what clients should be able to access. And if you want to check out more, I'll link those pull requests that implemented this feature. And yeah, thank you.